Is this working? Hello? Is this me? Wait, did they set up the chairs again? They did? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, how's it going?
So I can hear your feedback.
I think you'll be able to hear me from the back.
Hold on.
Okay.
What do we got?
This is testing.
So, you can hear me?
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Good?
I think it's working, but it's not working yet.
It's delayed again.
Can't sit there.
Here, let me get the.
No, it's just that this thing isn't really doing anything.
Are we gonna sit here?
I don't know why they put that.
I don't know either.
They just set it up that way.
It's very like
I mean, you
panel.
can if you want. But I figured I would just ignore it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Oh, wait,
I also set up the food outside instead of right here. So
yeah. I mean, we could move the food over here. No.
it's not a huge deal. People
Okay.
will see it there, I guess. So.
Yeah, this is for welcome to Word Circus.
Yay! We're gonna sit back here.
You can sit back there.
Just relax.
Uh-huh. Oh, thank you.
You want us in the front? We don't want us front and center, I'm assuming.
You can sit front and center if you'd like. That looks really comfy though.
He's not sitting there. Oh, we're in the front. We can be here.
On the microphone.
Oh, thank you.
Dad, can I see your phone?
What are you doing?
I want to check if the live stream works. You have YouTube, right?
I do too.
Maybe. Do you?
The YouTube apps.
Do you?
You just go online.
Never mind.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna go on this one.
Why would I open Zoom?
You want to live stream on your phone?
No.
October 19th. That's the area.
We'll make ceilings like this.
Saying it's Mama.
Send it to me and I'll do something.
I text her and she didn't answer, but if you want to send it to her, you can.
She'll text you tomorrow and be like,
Oh, yeah, this will be some bullshit, yeah. You know what? Do you want me to sit back here?
you said whatever you want. Are you gonna send up on Dad's maybe like that?
I'm the recruit.
You're a recruit. You wanna read?
I'm the recruit.
Dad, you should do the open mic.
That'd be nice.
Do you have a 2-minute long piece of prose or poetry to share?
You need to give me way more advanced notes than this.
Are you gonna sit with us when you're done your reading? You're gonna sit there.
That's a great question. Are you gonna sit there?
Yeah.
I wanna sit like in this.
How about we
second
sit?
row.
You want? How about we both sit? All three sit here. You sit here.
Okay. Yes, you want to just put my chair on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also my front in your face in front.
It's a pretty small room, so.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to see that.
Working on stuff like this, so like job work. Are you still at the Asian? What was it? The gift shop. Still have not seen it in the library.
It's because I don't make the front desk.
Oh,
I'm like in the back.
oh, okay. Got it. It feels like, because I'm with the ranks that are on Mondays and Tuesdays, and we had all class Monday and Tuesday, so I feel like I've been doing that
Is there a restroom up here? Unfortunately, not on this one. It's okay. It's a little confusing, but like it is down the stairs. Open for that.
No, okay. Cider. I texted when we were talking about like cohort group chat earlier, and she thumbs up my I think you were going first. So until I'm actually running the show, I still got plausible denial. Oh, it's not Elena did that. That's not. I'm not joking that area. Yeah.
So you're a professor, student,
So, student, I'm a second year.
second year student?
We have the same fellowship.
It's like once a year. What I'm aiming for. And then next year, somebody else will get the fellowship for their year, and then I'll be this where you are.
You make sure all those things go on.
This thing mostly, but
This thing.
yeah.
How often does this happen?
It's monthly.
Oh, it's not.
And so it's like getting the food and getting all of the chairs,
Set it up, making sure everybody's on point.
fighting with chatting people.
Yeah, fighting, catering. You didn't do it right.
Yeah. I feel like after doing this every single month, it would
You
start.
think they learn. We have a system. We literally do the same thing every month.
Exactly. And this has been going on since like 2007. When
Something like that.
Hey. This is well. I have smatter of people.
I did that you were wearing this here first.
Spread the word. I think Tyler is coming.
Sometimes.
Okay, so he's probably here. Kara and Annalise, I tried to put them on. They're both, we had an essay due one day for readings. Hi. How's it going? Good. You excited?
Hello.
You're in the seat. But yeah, welcome. I know, right? It's so pretty. It is.
This is a fun space.
I know.
Rainy day, good time for reading. You like here?
Did you teach today? Oh, I guess it's Sunday, so why not?
Yeah, I dressed up for the event. I dressed up for the event.
You did, thank you.
Teaching on Tuesday. I have a lesson Thursday.
Oh, that's full class.
So we're starting more bridal lessons front. So going through all the characters with them. Which are a lot of, it's like in 20 pages.
What grade do you teach?
I teach 10th and 12th grade. This is 5th grade class.
I was just talking to someone about that book, and I was like, I don't remember when I read it.
Yeah, probably high
I
school.
just remember it was the first time I learned a really good acronym, like something about the effects of war on the minds of men. So it was like, I don't know, WMM. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. Just the other day I was talking about that.
It's a good book. I didn't read it in high school. Like a lot of the high school like canon texts are really hit or miss. Some of them I didn't like a lot, but we finished Fahrenheit and now we're doing this. And both of them I thought were great. Especially rereading Fahrenheit and like talking to kids about it. Being like, you guys get it that like books are important and the like, authoritarian governments are bad. And it's
I would not be where I am without Fahrenheit 451.
yeah, it's a really good book and it's very poetic and everything. It's a great way to like start talking to the kids about language and how words can like do stuff. So I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm not read that. I didn't read that. I don't have to read it. You do? It's good.
He's more than master of short stories, but he's for some reason just known for very which it's a great book. But his short stories are history.
Hey, yeah. How are you? Good.
Every time I talk about it, I always stop.
Like, yeah. Very different than last time I saw you.
Yeah, it'll definitely be different by next time.
I'm sure. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. And it was cool.
How many are you
Teaching them in high school.
Yes.
Oh, no, they probably think you're so
I
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would take care and they're all like, oh. Yeah, she's very
I like.
That's
that.
awesome.
That's your time when it's a read. Yeah. Molly, what are you reading? You're reading like from your arts class or something?
I actually learned something new.
Oh, that's
For today? Yeah. Checked it out.
Really?
I know.
You never know how what the spirit's gonna lead, you know?
Sure.
How about you? What do you read?
I'm reading something from my arts class.
Oh, nice.
I edited it, changed it a little bit, but I did that today.
Fun.
I'm gonna go in a second. Lauren's lost. I'm gonna go.
She's lost.
Find her.
We don't want her to be lost. Okay.
Billy Crystal.
So it was something. This was his last, he said, right? He is, right?
But I'm not gonna secure because I can't sleep.
I'm in the front rows. I would have said the front row, I thought Rebel would kill me if I sat front row.
Hi, Kelly.
Oh, I'm Stephanie, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you as well.
I'm Molly's wife.
Oh, hi,
Hi.
hi, I'm
Nice to
Stephanie,
meet you.
I'm Rowan's mom.
Yeah.
No, Dad.
Nice to meet you both.
Yes.
Yeah. Fun.
Oh, good.
I'm a front row sitter. I can't help it.
Well, then I feel like we have to sit in the front, because I can't.
I won't sit in front of you. I can sit over.
Chill, we need to show depth to this.
No, I think we need to go in the front.
Not yet, wait,
Not yet.
So y'all live in this part?
No,
no,
we live in
Cameron
Philly.
Village.
Okay, you can work for this?
Well, I haven't seen Mel's apartment either since he
Okay.
moved. So I felt like, yeah, it was hard. It was like the first time I didn't move into like a place, and he was like, he's like, "Oh, do it by myself." I know, I felt bad. So yeah, so this was a good excuse to come up and see his place and get to see this. Yeah.
I'm not a student, but I will tell you that your son, and if you want to hear this, is White, the social chair.
Oh.
He like is such a connector.
Love that.
He always is sending texts and stuff, trying to get everybody together.
That's good.
And I have
He's had that as well.
benefited from those.
I love that.
No, he used to do that. He used to do Dungeons and Dragons. He
Oh, yeah.
used to have it together.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's been filming this whole time.
Merlin also does D&D.
Oh, he
So
does?
he used.
He used to, I don't know if he still does
He
that.
mentioned it the other day.
He did?
Yeah.
He was actually the dungeon master, so you should
Yeah, so
see
He
his.
could like maybe give
And
me
he
some
said
tutoring.
he would,
Oh my God.
he said he would do that for free. Be the judge.
Oh, cool. Yes, we said to get a plan together.
It's his writing and his stories of that,
I
and the
bet
maps
it's
that he
so
has
great.
are incredible. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll-
because you know the dungeon master writes the story.
I was too scared, and then he was like too shy to be able to ask, like, how do you play the game? Can
Me
you come
too.
in?"
And when we were young, like, didn't your parents say? I feel like it was like,
I mean, I was not like,
yeah, like it was not, it was
Into that.
existed, but it was like,
it was definitely, I was been around
It's had to be
forever.
the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
Had to be the beginning. It's gotta be
I'm trying to think if my brother ever
70s, 80s.
played, I don't think
I was
so.
born in '76, and like I definitely knew it growing up, but like never played.
Right.
Like there was
I never.
like so,
I don't, that's what I'm saying.
like the nice white girls
You're
mom
se-
would
you're
say that
71,
it's like
that-
see.
that
But
might
you
be-
Brother, you
know?
should
That
like
might
that.
have been a crucial 5-year difference there.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
She's
Because you
younger
were
than
born in
us.
71 and she was 60. Something, 69.
71 sounds fine.
That's like 71.
But I also didn't know about any of that stuff.
I mean, I knew what it was, but I
I mean, video
never.
games were just getting
Right.
introduced to society.
Atari.
Yes.
When I hit high school, my grandparents, all that stuff, Nintendo. We didn't even have TV or anything, so that was like a
That was
deal.
huge.
But you had a TV. It just wasn't.
We got the
channels.
TV for,
Before the Nintendo.
Oh, for the Nintendo. Okay.
You didn't even watch the movies
we
then.
had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunter. That was it.
Okay. Well, you're reading today too, right?
Mhm.
That's what I thought. Okay. I got the
I
load
used to
down.
own
You
it
gave me out
television.
ones like.
Yeah.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you
When the television came out, Pitbull Harry, when television came out, that was right after Atari.
What's it
It
called?
was before
Nintendo
Atari,
did.
no?
Or maybe it
Right,
was.
I think it might have been,
Yeah.
or, yeah,
It's
and
like
the
one of
ball
the
would
first
go
ones.
and you
Yeah,
go across.
Breakout. That was the beginning Breakout, right?
I think so. I don't know the name, but I think in television, I know this because it was this like super nerd podcast with a guy.
It didn't last, it didn't last
I'm not
very
even
long.
a video game person, but-
Like,
I think
put
that,
out of business by all the.
and it was like just one,
Yeah.
one game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine now, like one box with one game?
Oh my God.
Right.
Oh, with a ball, just like,
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Well, that was like Breakout, right? Where we when the five of them go up.
That's Pong.
Pong,
Yeah.
Pong.
That was before, that was before the games.
Yeah,
That was
right,
like
right.
on the computer.
Yeah.
Figured that out.
Nice to meet you. This is how they.
It keeps a little bit of fun.
And we find quite a delight when the internet goes out and then you can play
Old.
Like the old one.
the Google game, you know, with the dinosaur, like all the Google. Where it says like this page is not available.
I know
He
you're
does. He does.
So
I'm
you
like,
hit the
oh.
space bar and then the little dinosaur goes across it and then you hit the space bar and you get it.
I don't know what you're
I
talking
don't, yeah, I
about.
don't either.
It's the game we hate the internet.
You can't get the internet.
You can play that.
You can play.
Yeah, instead of like being able to Google anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Or next
Well,
time the
there we
internet's
go.
out.
Good to
I
know.
feel like when the internet's out, we should encourage the
I
internet.
was gonna say, maybe we should go off the games instead of trying to like dive.
I think it was Leo who told me, like, oh, you can play the game now.
That's
Space bar. I'm like, what? This is no.
We can stay in the show as long as I get, as long as you. leave.
Yeah, I can do that.
How do we read that one? That's the video. We just sent Rowan's grandma his name.
How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
My husband Mike,
Hi, Mike. How are you? I'm Kelly.
Molly.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
My big
Hi,
mom.
Mike.
Mike, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Hi, David.
David, nice to meet you.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Beautiful school. I was
Right.
saying, this campus is beautiful.
Awesome.
It really is. Quiet.
I think Tyler is coming here.
Is it still
Okay,
quiet?
right, and it's
I mean,
still
usually,
live stream.
You know,
Okay.
midday,
I have
with a
it
lot
right.
of people out on the
Okay.
corners.
Guys are awesome.
All right.
It's not a very
Although I haven't
beautiful
seen
day.
you past.
Did you come live in this area because you guys are from here or because you came to school here?
I grew up.
You grew up here.
So we just moved here at the beginning of the summer.
The time that I'll be
And so we moved here.
And then I cut a page.
Oh, so you're
I
perfect.
think I need a job.
Honor of document.
I'm itching.
I was thinking
She's like,
about
what kind of
the thing I literally wrote this week. It's like some kind of extra good part of it. It's like, what did Dr.
I should put, well, I'm not another book. This is
But,
not Molly's first one.
yeah, I do also.
See, I got a little bit of problem collecting.
Okay.
I never know
You're a
this.
professional student.
So you were like,
She doesn't like seeing things.
but you're going up to school, but then you should just get a job. Maybe I should teach.
Once she, like,
That's like
puts them
out
on
in between. She's qualified to do all those things, right? So
I feel like the
I was
ones
like,
that
I
you
saw it.
teach the most of
I
them
read
are
about this
terrifying.
program
I don't
somewhere
know
this
if
summer.
those
It's on
are
super
about-
late
is that
till
next-
5.
Yeah.
And I was like, Molly, it's a teaching handwriting.
Are you
You
taking
should just publish our first book.
Ah.
So- But it was like July. I mean, it was really,
Yeah.
June or July, it was really late to apply. So we,
Yeah.
I don't know, just
I took that with
basically
them.
across the street. It's really close.
Right,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, They usually put us on.
Yeah. It has worked out well. They have
I mean,
no.
it's really
Nice
teaching
to
them
know.
for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's what Ronald explained to me, some people that don't
Yeah.
have teaching, side of it, right?
so it is like a job too.
Yeah.
It's
when
right.
I'm-
Perfect.
It's relevant that you, to do that, ECS class. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're teaching creative writing to a charter high school.
Yes,
Yes.
And ACS stuff.
yes.
I'm taking the,
My sister started that school.
I'm taking the,
Yeah, she was
What,
so
her
excited.
class now?
That's
I'm
awesome.
doing the spring.
That's nice today for teaching. Exciting.
Yeah, I'll get around.
You should tell my mom that you need some parents for
It is so.
Right? And even 11-year-old, just one. Yeah. Yep.
I was a menace.
They.
Avery was a menace. My
She
sister.
was.
She was, yeah.
Maybe I'm a menace
I realized
Realize I would feel guilty, like if I got married or something, I felt guilty.
Really? You're that good?
Yeah, look at that smile.
I used to be like, do you want to like just go do something bad?
I know, it's, our kid is quite squirrely, but, sometimes I feel like I have to teach, they're neurodivergent, sometimes I think I have to teach them like how to break the rules so that they can learn the lesson that they need to learn when they break the rules.
When they break the
This is the
rules.
only way to learn it.
Nice, you know, well, I dig it.
Right.
Thank you.
The reserve them.
Yeah, over. The wrong room.
Did you get an interview?
An interview? Oh, for White Whale? No, I actually
Yeah.
didn't. You didn't? You applied too?
Mhm.
I wonder, I bet that they already found someone, like a friend of a friend.
Is it bookstore?
I mean, yeah,
Sorry about that.
I almost
Mhm.
had ChatGPT change my application to make it look like I was 35.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm not convinced that they read my resume, but
Mhm.
it's their prerogative. They own the bookstore.
I do want a bookstore.
And I don't know what I was thinking because I just started school today and I applied like 3 weeks ago, so I didn't really have time. I realized I don't have
we
time
can't even do
to
it.
go hang out with people at the bookstore during the holidays.
Yeah.
I have to study.
You are in school.
I well, I study yoga therapy. It's not like super linear graduate program, so there's chunks during the year. So like we have a chunk. that's
Like
all-
teacher training?
Well, I've already gone through all of that. So now I'm studying to be a yoga therapist, which is like physical therapy from the person's mind, body, spirit perspective. So taking into account like all the levels of the body in addressing mostly physical problems. Because mostly physical problems never really are just this only, right, the garden style has something to do with it, It's relatively, I mean, it's not new, like from a yoga perspective, but in the United States, we have to like put a name on everything and have certification for some good reasons, right?
Right.
And so it is a relatively new, like Western medicine accepted thing, right? Like there's only a few schools. And to be honest,
Hey, Tyler. I think we'll kind of agree, yes.
so I,
How was the events, the day event?
Super good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I consider
Amazing.
medicine,
It's been like 80 bucks on books because I had to
I
buy
mean,
it.
so
I'm
like,
gonna start, like, what is the goal?
Has it been just like?
I do most of
No,
my
it
love
was,
stuff.
So
It helps me and it helps
the Rachel Carson conference was in this building yesterday.
I do see
That I
some
read it.
private yoga.
Today it was some of the
So I
different
can see.
city of Asylum.
Despite the rain, despite
That's the name of
Right,
the
I
place.
need help.
And
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think
an
it was.
annual
Okay, so you're like.
literary festival.
Yeah, but like down a big flight of stairs.
So they have indigenous poets, they have Chinese translators,
So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ukrainian authors that I skipped from this. So it was great, free. Like, I know I should have like rallied the
This
troops.
wasn't really
We have to get to it.
Oh.
Using a reading function.
Yes, I
Someone
did,
wrote
yeah.
it, right?
An essay I wrote last year.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's good. Well received. Last question.
So it's one university,
Yeah,
so
so-
like they get a master's,
I
like,
usually-
Came off.
they just were like, yes, we.
Oh.
It is a good adjustment.
I mean, that
Days
was
like
like,
that.
I always come from.
I think it's
Uh,
red.
like, or sorry, from Squirrel Head.
Oh,
So
no,
it's
I'm
from
sure,
the,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
all the rich people houses.
Yeah,
You
you
can
have
see
my,
that
when I got there, I keep asked at the hospital, and I did, like, right there, and I felt so awkward, like, walking through these people's driveways, but.
I can understand how you can find
But I don't know,
this.
it's like, honestly, it's the weirdest spring, like, in the morning, and there's like light skinned people there, and I'm like, so they're kind
Or
of.
like when there's a car coming up behind you, and they're like, oh, you have to do this driveway, okay.
It was
Sorry,
good.
sorry.
Sorry.
What like over
That's what I had to do.
A botanical garden.
Nice.
Got it for kids. It's like a
Yeah.
present.
I love it.
I'm gonna build it up, so I'm ready for my thing at the end of August.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's so good for
Hello,
Hello.
it is now 6 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to the October Word Circus. It's lovely to see all of you. For those of you who don't know, my name is Elena Polinsky. I'm a second year Margaret L. Whitford Fellow. And Word Circus is a monthly reading series featuring students from Chadham's Creative Writing MFA program, a space for students, faculty, and friends to come together and celebrate Chadham's writers and community. Word Circus is curated by myself as well as our first year Margaret L. Whitford Fellow, Rowan. Tonight we'll be hearing work from Molly Booker, Rowan's lesbian, I forgot to ask, and David Blackmore. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Creative Writing MFA faculty, especially Sheila Escalante, our first director. And thanks to each of you who showed up, either in person or on live stream, which we actually have someone on live stream. Yay. Yeah, so our first reader will be Molly, followed by Rowan, and then we will have a 10-minute break where you can use the restroom, enjoy our refreshments, which are outside of the room for some reason. Usually they're there, but they're not. And then we'll have our open mic portion. The open mic has a time limit of 2 minutes or 2 pages, whichever comes first, and the sign up is right up there. And then we'll come back and finish the evening with David. Up first, Molly Booker is a queer writer and MFA student at Trotter University who believes joy is a radical act. She's the author of Magic in the Mess and the forthcoming Brave Enough to Be Joyful. Her Substack blends essays, cartoons, and creative chaos to celebrate queer authenticity and aliveness. Molly lives in Pittsburgh with her wife, kid, and 2 enthusiastic dogs. Please join me in giving Molly a warm welcome to the mic.
I think that's one of my favorite parts, just hearing my awesomeness read from somebody else. So I'm complete now. I'm Molly, and as we just heard, I'm halfway through my first semester here at Chatham in the MFA program. And as I signed up to read tonight, I did what I usually do and opened my book. It came out in October and felt like a good time to dive back into that. And as I did, I started looking through and I immediately started editing my book. And so I kept thinking And so I decided to write something new, something that shows where I am today as a writer. It's about childhood, it's about resilience, it's about shame, and rediscovering joy through something called SRA. And if you know, you know. So this piece is called Brown One. You know how some kids wait all year for their birthday or for Christmas? For me, it was the Scholastic Book Fair. Down this, like when you know, right? So down the stairs into the kindergarten wing, the only day of the year that space was actually cool. Tables everywhere, books displayed like treasure, bright covers, new stories, the smell of fresh ink, tape, glue. There was the Little Miss books, Little Miss Sunshine, Little Miss Bossy, my favorite, Little Miss Tickle. And then they had the little collector item, the plushies that like went along with the books to match. Pens that had like floating glitter inside and looked like a magic wand, which I still think pens are a magic wand. Erasers shaped like Pac-Man. This was the Disney World of my dreams for sure. So I paced the aisles in the Scholastic Book Fair like my dad at Home Depot. The first one in, the last one out. And then there was that little paper order form, super thin, super flimsy, like newspaper, and you tore off this little strip on the back, kind of like how you would order sushi. And I'd study it for days. I kept it under my pillow. I gave it more attention than any Christmas list. It didn't quite occur to me that I could use that as my Christmas list. And once I asked for books for my birthday, school supplies even, and when I opened an electric pencil sharpener and a paper cutter, I was in heaven. My older brother Ben never let me hear the end of that one, and I didn't ask again. Until I met Kelly. This is my wife, Kelly, and now I get school supplies and books as gifts all the time. And that plastic bag from the book fair, the clear one, kind of like you get when you go to a football game. I loved it because you could see everything inside. I'd sneak glances at other kids' bags and see what books they were reading, but I was so proud of mine. See my books, just like gold. I loved words. I loved stories. I even loved pretending to read. Like when I memorized my favorite book as a kid, Noisy Nora, and then read it to my little brother before I could actually read. And words were my secret power. Until they weren't. 3rd grade. Our classroom got a new arrival. A big rainbow colored box labeled SRA. It looked like joy itself, like a unicorn lunchbox exploded. Instant attraction. Should have been my first clue about my lifelong rainbow tendencies, and it would have saved me decades of confusion and at least one divorce lawyer. This magical rainbow box turned out to be the standard reading assessment. And inside were color-coded folders, hundreds of them, thousands of them in my memory. Each color was a level, and you took a test to find out where you'd start. And as a kid who lived for stories, I was like, bring it on. I imagined starting near the top at the cool colors, like purple, maybe silver, even possibly gold, because reading was my thing. This was my Olympics. So I took that test filled with confidence. A few days later, the results were handed back. My classmates were getting blues, oranges, yellows, and then there was Aaron Woods, my nemesis, my lifelong academic rival. Always one with the perfect handwriting, the straight A's, always the one getting the extra plus on the end of everything, that smug look of someone who never spilled anything on her trapper keeper. Aaron got silver 14, 2 away from gold. That was who I needed to beat. And then here comes Miss Gross. Yes, that was her real name, I'm not kidding. Miss Gross holding my paper. Her walk from the front of the room to my desk felt like a Ken Burns documentary. Each step took a decade. She stops to chat with Aaron, of course. She straightens a stack of papers, she sighs. Meanwhile, my heart is racing. Finally, she reaches me, and I'm ready for my purple or silver moment. She smiles sweetly, tilts her head, and hands me the paper. I look down, nothing, just 2 boxes, start and end. And so I raise my hand, excuse me, Miss Gross, where's my level? And she says with that overly bright teacher voice, oh, sweetie, that is your level. You're starting at the beginning. The beginning? Like brown? Like brown number 1? She nods proudly. Yes, you're our very first brown 1 ever. No one has ever started at the beginning before. And she says it like I just won Student of the Year. I shoved that test back into the corner of my desk where things went to die, and I went to the bathroom and cried. No one in the history of Wilmot Elementary School had ever started at brown 1. And let's be honest, brown was already an unfortunate color for a kid's self-esteem. I think if insecurity were a Crayola color, it would be brown 1. So I made it my mission to escape. I hid my brown folders under my shirt anytime I went up to that rainbow-colored SRA box. I raced through each color, orange, blue, green, anything to climb my way to respectable middle, certainly out of brown. But even when I reached the sparkly upper levels, I still felt like that girl from brown 1. That label clung to me like shit on a shoe. And just when I thought that hell was finished, then came the school-wide assembly. The entire student body. The principal starts talking about this new award, about somebody who's done something that's never been done before. It's getting really quiet in the gym, talking about perseverance and determination and the spirit of learning. And then the curtains parted in the back, and they wheeled out the goddamn SRA box. My stomach dropped. And then it happened. Molly Booker has done something no one has ever done before. She went from brown 1 to gold 15. The crowd clapped, but all I heard was brown 1. Brown 1. Brown 1. My face was so hot. Everyone in the school now knew that I tested at the very bottom. Brown 1. So my face beat red. I'm sure I peed a little. I stood up, walked to the front, head down, and they handed me my big prize, an eagle feather wrapped in red string. They called it the Top Feather Award. What the actual fuck? Weird and humiliating. And that day, I stopped calling myself a writer. From that point on, I avoided anything remotely Englishy. And I think I just made up that word. I found loopholes, being in a lot of the gifted and talented programs that let me skip writing classes. I could take extra math and physics, the farthest I seem to have found away from Brown. I built my whole identity around not needing words. But that love I buried, it didn't die. It just waited quietly. And now, somehow, I've made my way back to English, and not just back to reading and writing, but to the very beginning, English 105. Thank God it's not called Brown 1. If you had told my third grade self that someday I'd be teaching college students how to write, she'd have dropped her Brown folder right there in the SOA box. As I prepared to design my course for teaching next semester for English 105, I landed on this theme, finding yourself in the word. Funny, that's exactly where I lost myself. So I've been reading books on writing like crazy. Stephen King's on writing, Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird. And as I read, I kept thinking, this is it. This is the magic. We don't just write stories. We write ourselves back to life. When I signed up to read tonight, I thought maybe I'd read something from my book, Magic in the Mess. But when I opened it, all I could see were sentences I'd rewrite. And if you haven't taken a class with Dr. McNar yet, I highly recommend it. I kept flipping to later chapters thinking, surely I got better by the end. Nope, still me, just earlier version of me. And that's okay, because I am a better writer today. So I decided to write something new, something meta. Turns out that is the new me. Writing, about how we lose ourselves and how we find ourselves again in words. And there was a time that I really did lose myself. 15 years ago, I had a pretty profound suicide attempt. And coming out of that attempt that night, I had this strange, undeniable whisper in my head. Write a book, Molly. Tell your story. And I remember saying, anything but that. God, remember the whole Brown 1 incident? That felt impossible. And like Moses arguing with God, who me? I can't even speak right. And God or the universe or my own weary soul replied with something that still made me laugh. Well, you could kill yourself. Point taken, I'll choose writing. That's how I began my first memoir, opting in. And that night I had lost every bit of hope. But in writing, I found a teeny spark, the same spark that once lived in a third grader clutching a plastic bag of books. Writing became how I found myself again, and I've been doing it ever since, writing myself home. So here I am now, halfway through my first semester at Chatham, in a room full of readers, writers, listeners, and I realize I've returned to Brown 1. But this time it's not shame, it's freedom. Brown 1 is where beginners live, where curiosity lives, where the story starts again. I spent years trying to prove I wasn't Brown 1. Now I'm proud to own Brown 1. Because I didn't fail. I finished the whole rainbow. I read every single story in that book. And the pot of gold at the end wasn't a feather wrapped in string. It's this, standing here, alive, speaking, sharing stories, coming home to the word and to myself. So tonight, to all those of you online here, I want to dedicate this to all the other Browns out there. The ones who started late or started slow, started low, or started messy. You're not behind. You're right where you need to be, and the rainbow still has room for you. I see you. And secret, brown's my favorite color. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Molly.
Thank you.
Right. So up next we have Rowan Slipke, who is a first-year MFA student at Chatham and a recipient of the Margaret L. Woodford Fellowship in Writing. They write fiction with themes of boyhood, masculinity, and technology, and tutor at Chatham's Writing Center. Their work has been published in the Sigma Tau Delta Rectangle and the Pitt News.
Hi everyone, hi Zoom. Tonight I'm going to be reading a piece that I wrote in Dr. McNorman's fiction class. Thank you, Molly. Great place to be.
Great place to be.
Great place to be. This piece is called Pale Gray Mirrors. It's a short story. Cairn flicked on his Game Boy Advanced SP. A rainbow wave of pixels bloomed in the shape of its logo, accompanied by that iconic title jingle. Wah, bing! Accompanied momentarily, that is, before he smashed the volume slider down. But that first warbled note, a G, he recognized, rang out across the dining room from under the table. Hey, away. His mother spoke sternly, like he was a squirrel on a bird feeder. Cairn rolled his eyes. Fine, he said, but he didn't turn the device off, just closed the cobalt blue clamshell and held it in a nest between his palms. Away. She narrowed her eyes. Cairn made a noise between a sigh and a grumble and pushed out his chair. It screeched against the hardwood floor. Behind him, on the counter, there was a nook between the fruit bowl and Dee Dee's rat sculpture. He set his SP down there, too annoyed to remember to shut it down all the way. If she didn't want him on the thing, then why did she buy it for him? Nobody spoke until he sat back down and his mother took a deep breath. According to her, family dinner was a time of togetherness, where they could have real conversations if only they put down their devices. She wouldn't even let his father watch his game shows. Now, she said, how was everybody's day? We did painting, Dee Dee said. Her head swung from side to side while she scooped peas one at a time. Daddy bought new watercolors for everyone. Mm-hmm. His father's mouth was full. Cairn watched him attempt to divide a steak in half with a fork. You used the coupons? His mother asked. I went to Michael's, not Hobby Lobby. His parents locked eyes. Cairn glanced behind him and then started chewing faster. Why did you drive so far? His mother asked. She paced out each word. Why did you drive so far? Like she asked 5 different questions. Resigned to his knife, his father took a large bite. The house itself waited while he chewed. I was already over there, he said. Really? His mother's plate was untouched. Mommy, look! Dee Dee raised her arm. Her sleeve was covered in ketchup. The tiny circular Tupperware container where the condiment had been poured was empty, and her plate looked like one of those paintings that people stare at and go, my 4-year-old could do that. Cairn's mother's hands rose to her mouth, and then she shot up and scooped her daughter in her arms. She mouthed later at her husband, and then carried Dee Dee upstairs. Her footsteps creaked on each of the 15 stairs and then disappeared in the direction of her bedroom. As usual, it was quiet when it was just the two of them. The women in their family were passerine presences, certainly, but to Cairn it felt like his father simply had nothing to say. When he picked him up from practice, there was no, how was your day? Or what pieces are you working on? Or even, what's the gossip with you in the first chair? Just car radio static and rubber on asphalt. Even now, he silently picked at his mashed potatoes, his eyes down, or he wiped at an invisible stain on the tablecloth while Cairn, his food finished, reached back for his game. He leaned dangerously far back in his chair, and the sheer, oily surface slipped from his grip once, twice, before he could pinch the machine at its corner and drag it into his grasp. He opened it to the title screen of Super Mario Bros. 3. Its glow warm against his Coke bottle glasses. He started a new game. His father shot him a swan song look and then retired to his crumbs. Thinking back on his childhood, even decades after he had touched anything that could be considered a Nintendo, Cairn could recall with glee the first level of Super Mario Bros. 3. Its 8-bit chip tunes played on repeat in his head. His dreams were shaded in the pastels, blue, pink, green of its raised platform, and whenever he drew a cloud, he always added little eyes. He spent hours floating past watchful cumulonimbi in level 1-1. The Super Leaf power-up was his all-time favorite. He craved the sense of endlessness that came from soaring above the level where no enemies could reach. At the dinner table that night, he raced for the falling tanuki and took to the skies. First above the two green Paracupa enemies to grab the extra life hidden on a sky platform, then to duck into a hidden pipe. The game had no secrets from him. Inside the pipe was a small dark room and a handful of extra coins in the shape of an 8. Why an 8, he didn't know, but sometimes, when he snuck his Game Boy under the covers late at night and played lying on his side, it looked like the symbol for infinity. Soon enough, Karen's thumb got tired from mashing the fly button. At the end of each level, there was a zigzag screen transition where everything faded to black. He aligned himself with it, tapping the directional pad left, right, left, and then ran full speed into the goal. That was the surefire way to collect a star reward. He ran, jumped, and the whole screen went black. Fuck. Language, his father said. He had finished with his food and moved to the sink. Plates and serving bowls stood stacked on the kitchen island behind him. Karen's own plate was gone, as were his mother and Dee Dee, still. Without another word, he pushed out his chair and flew upstairs in search of his charger. Usually, along with his spare phone battery, his power adapter sat in the corner of his room plugged into the outlet. But now a heap of laundry towered against the wall, and when he pushed it to the side, nothing was there. It wasn't on his Beatles sheets, it wasn't on his dresser, it wasn't in his desk. But there, he eyed an open pack of Pokemon cards, torn at the edge with everything still inside. Nothing good though, one rare of which he already had 2. They were pooled, along with his other favorites, in a tin his uncle gave him, originally meant to hold guitar picks. Where was his tin? Karen shifted through his desk and found it tucked against the back corner of the drawer. Good. No charger there, though. He clutched the SP through the fabric of his pocket. If his mother didn't yell at him to turn it off so abruptly, he would have had enough charge to make it to the second or third world at least. She would know where the charger went. She was better at these things. Karen left his room and meandered down the hallway, past the upstairs bathroom and Dee Dee's room and the hall closet. Dee Dee's light was off, and his parents' door was closed. Were they still in there? Sometimes Dee Dee played on the floor by their bed, coloring her 8th marsupial of the week, but he wasn't allowed to join unless he played his game on mute. He was about to knock when the door opened and his sister came out. She wore a cowboy hat, a bedazzled Rugrats tee, and capri leggings underneath a pink tutu that jutted out in all directions. She shut the door behind her and headed towards the stairs. Is Mom in there? Karen asked. She nodded. I'm coloring. The hall clock read 7:30. Isn't it past your bedtime? I have to color a raccoon, Mom said. Sometimes Karen had this premonition that Dee Dee was going to do great things in life, and she and his parents would leave him in the dust. The first time it happened was when her sculpture won the Junior Arts Prize. She got first place for their school and runner-up in the state competition. The rat itself didn't bother him. Dee Dee was a good artist, he knew that. But seeing her stand next to all these other kids, his age and younger, all with blue ribbon work, that made his stomach stir. Kara liked 2 things, music and Mario, but he wasn't that good at guitar, just had a decent ear, and nobody won any state awards for flying around the Mushroom Kingdom. He watched Dee Dee shimmer down the stairs until she was out of sight, and then knocked on his parents' door. Mom? 3 quick raps. Mom! There was no response, so he cracked open the door and crept in. Jeopardy blared on the TV. A towel, dotted with red stains, was splayed out on his father's side of the bed. Past the main room, a right turn led to his mother's work desk and the bathroom, and from this direction he heard snippets of a conversation. His mother whispered into her phone. Karen slowed to a tiptoe. I know it's unfair, but it's every other week now, and with Dee Dee in the car, the agreement was we both do our own thing discreetly. 1 second, Carol. His mother poked her head around the corner. She spoke like a bomb with a lit fuse. Hi, Key, I'm on the phone right now. What do you want? Key was his childhood nickname, the one no one else could use. Hearing it, Key, one quick puff of air, reassured him. His mother's grin, which till then seemed forced, softened. She continued. Also, what did we say about sneaking around? You're getting older. You need to set a good example for your sister. I knocked, he said. You were on the phone. A moment passed in silence, mother and son's eyes, pale, gray mirrors. Was that Aunt Carol? He asked. They weren't real sisters, just best friends, but Karen thought they sounded awfully similar. It was, she resigned after a pause. Do you need help with something? Karen held up his SP with both hands like the Lion King. His mother's head tilted and her smile changed again, this time as if to say, of course. I can't find my charger, he said. I told you to turn it off. We finished dinner. Twice, she brought her phone to her lips and then tapped the unmute button. Carol, I've got to go. See you soon. Carol said something, and then his mother repeated the words, see you soon, the way she told Dee Dee that's lovely shading when she meant it. She hung up. Then she beckoned to Karen and walked past him out of the room. As he followed, he opened his dead SP and stared at his reflection in the blank screen. His mother found his charger under the pile of clothes by the outlet, and when she scolded him for barely looking, he complained that he did look, and it definitely wasn't there. Then she told him that if he wanted to play more, he had to stay downstairs and watch his sister. Couldn't she watch herself, he thought, but when she left the room with his cord, he followed without question. She plugged it in next to the table where Dee Dee sat, unmoving, adding green stink lines to her raccoon. Her crayons stood lined up in a row in alphabetical order. Karen, look, she said, and she told him about the raccoon's diet of mushrooms and tree sap, while his parents whispered in the kitchen. Eventually, they retreated upstairs. Stay down here, his mother said, and his father added, listen to your mother. Powered on at last, Karen's SP felt weightless. He played the first level of Super Mario Bros. 3 over and over, Super Leaf, 1-Up, Secret Pipe, Zigzag, Star Reward, until the buttons wore grooves into his fingers. He never switched the volume slider up, just chirped the chip tune to himself. His parents never came back down, and he began to check the clock every time he collected the 1-1 goal. 7:52, 7:56, 7:59, 8:01. Hey, Dee Dee, he asked his sister. What? When you and Dad went to get watercolors, did anything weird happen? His sister put down her crayon and looked at him. Her eyes were big and dry from staring at the page. He told me not to say. Karen's hands tensed, and he shut his Game Boy. Then he reopened it, turned it off, and put it down again. Of course she knew. You can tell me, Dee. It'll be our secret. You told before. A few months ago, she stayed up past her bedtime to watch TV. Karen was mad at her because she snitched that he hadn't practiced guitar all week, so he told on her and she got an hour of time out. Then she hit him over the head with her metal fairy wand, and he ripped a few of her drawings from the wall behind his mother's work desk and crumpled them into little tiny balls. And then they both forgot why they were mad. I want to play Mario, she said. Karen scoffed. Dee Dee wasn't allowed to play his game, just like she wasn't allowed to call him Key or watch TV after bedtime. Please? She kicked her heel at the ground. You can do my drawing. I never get to play. I don't care about your stupid drawing, he said. It's not stupid. She turned her chin up. Fine then. You're never going to know. Fine. Fine. Dee Dee snatched her drawing and turned away from him. She barricaded his view of the table with her left arm. In retaliation, he moved up against the wall and hid his device in the cradle of his palm. It felt warm, like a blanket of downy feathers, lulling him to sleep.
Thank you so much, Rowan. All right. So next we will take our 10-minute break. Bathrooms are downstairs, and we have refreshments, cookies, table right outside. And it looks like we don't have anyone signed up for the open mic, so if anyone is interested, the sign up is right there. There's 5 spots, 2 pages, 2 minutes. See you in 10.
Hi, Tyler.
Hey, good to see you. What can I do? How are you? That's great. When did you do that?
Something you guys are telling
And you do just right now.
I do.
Sit there.
Oh my God, it was so bad. I started
What?
going through my, no, it was
Oh.
going through my phones and I was like,
I
oh,
know.
it's tense. I'm like, oh, I could totally make this
Yeah.
far. I was like, oh my God.
I'm debating even like reading an open mic piece because I just.
Yeah.
You should
do
totally.
it.
I'm going, I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So that you two say that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Piece of corn. This
Yeah, some of it is.
Well, do you think that your time as a pastor had like got you over the fear of like cranking it out, reading it?
The kitchen island.
You know, like in the same house, something that he already created, and then he ended the next day and all of that, right? But it's like you're used to just being like, on Sunday I have to read that.
Yeah, I think that's it. They're good.
What's up? I was gonna be the one that I showed you. I was like, I want to.
This was really good though.
Yeah, although today my.
Not memorized at all. Start talking about you, right?
Word for word.
I mean, awesome. Oh my God, you're gonna do it? I really want to.
Thanks.
It's great.
You too.
This is so fun,
I
right?
know, it is.
Yeah, so
How do you
it's
spell Karen's?
Kaira. It's a story.
Karen, like,
Like Cliff. That word. I took it from a different story where I did it. I like kept switching back and forth in that one between C and K. And then every time like I did it instinctually, I wrote K, and then so when I took the name of the story, yeah. And Dee's full name is Dedelia. So I thought they were funny names.
How old is Karen? Did you say in there?
No, I think he's around 8 and he's around 4.
Really good, I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, Sharpie scenario reminds me very much from our kid. I looked. It wasn't there when I looked.
This still happens, by the way.
It just was not.
And I will tell you that I couldn't find a single thing until I became a parent. And now
So I
I
just
can
have to, like,
totally
pop
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's something about, and I think it's exclusively being a mom, so don't feel bad if you just had to be a dad instead of a mom. Like, you still won't be able to find
I'm not saying
stuff. My mom to this day can't understand. She's like, you can actually find things now? We can't, I'm the only one in the house.
Me too.
It wasn't like that when you were a kid.
He doesn't find things.
He did look, he pile out of the way, and clearly there was nothing directly under it, so. So you can find things now. Actually, I'm not bad. I think it's something about me being the only person there.
Well, it's all your stuff, there's nobody, you're the only person.
Exactly, so it doesn't
I mean, that
disappear.
happens in your room too, but you could, but when it's at our house, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I can help Kate find things, so maybe I'm just developing the skill. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. And then it makes sense that you're wrong, Kate's a dad.
But I put everything in the exact same spot every single time I put it down.
That's a really good
Just
way to
disappears.
have
I lose stuff all the time.
You use an air tag.
all over my house.
Those air tags are like, those are game changers. I need to buy like 100.
Yeah.
I was scared that you would like, I don't know. Yeah, or like surveillance.
Right.
The government's gonna know where my
That was
wallet
good,
is.
no, we like
Yeah,
it.
right. We got this thing.
What?
What did you say? You have what? Oh, that's in here.
You should. You could put a list of places you submit to, or you just do whatever.
It's the game. Just do it all.
Every weekend to read oranges, that a word.
I should get some of this. Tyler, at some point we should probably come up with a list of good places to submit stuff to.
Yeah,
I feel like you know more about that than.
definitely. Yeah. I want to get with Chloe to like
Mm-hmm.
put together, I don't know, some sort of a.
Oh, like a master list to like.
Well, no, like a running, like
Yeah.
this one opens next month, get your shit together, and then
That would
that
be good.
hits, and then, but then you know what's happening next month because we sent another one out. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a good like social media thing too.
definitely, that's what I figured. I brought it up to her, I'm waiting on her to like, chase her down to
Yeah, that's right. We'll see her tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I might do is the missions thing.
Oh, yeah.
Let's probably get together and submit.
All right, send it over. We'll be there. I don't know.
That was great, it was really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. Sorry, I didn't say anything. I was like searching for open mic things.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
can't, I don't have anything open mic worthy, but very good.
You did a great job last time.
Yeah, but that was, I can't do the same thing. I'm being a culture leader.
Change a couple words.
Very interesting. Like you do the same poem at every single word start and it changes slightly every single time.
But last time was different each time.
Yeah. Yes.
You always will
You-
do it.
Hello, chat. There's no chat. No one's saying anything.
You just wrote it in class.
But there's
right?
3 people there
Wow.
and 1 like, but that
It's
was
very
me.
college. Yeah.
This isn't the remember that like story, dream
Yeah.
story
Okay,
about
okay.
rodents I showed you at Falling Water?
No, but also like it
That's what this
terrifies me
is.
that
I
it's
don't think
finished.
it's
I'm like, so much shit.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not done because it's finished. It's done because it's due. So I just have a deadline coming up, and then I get really scared and make a lot of changes.
No, I mean like, is that the final
Oh, now there's
Oh,
2
yes.
people.
ending? Okay, okay.
It
Yeah,
went down.
there used to be like an ending where it like expanded out more, and it was like, oh, you could hear the sounds of Jeopardy getting louder from upstairs. But I felt like keeping it on them was kind of nice.
Yeah.
It was truthful. It wasn't family feud,
I think
right?
streaming on YouTube
Right,
is
so
the way to
we
go
have
with
to-
this because it automatically saves and uploads it.
Do you
Just
remember
like
it?
that. Yeah.
We watched it.
Right.
No, usually,
Jeopardy?
usually if I'm
Well,
upstairs,
I've
usually-
been there.
The Avery's there is.
Yeah, right.
It's finally gonna get hot.
It's
Yeah.
a fun flash show. And then every like
Like hot
once every
chocolate.
like 2 hours, you're like,
Thanks.
no, I'm saying I don't know.
I don't, yeah, that's true.
I will say that I know one every 2 minutes, but then I'll be wrong. Yeah. It is nice to guess.
Chance to be right.
It is the guessing show. And then when you are right and they're wrong, you can be like,
How do you get that 9?
yeah, I know, right? I'd be so curious to know like how they like study. Do you think they just like
Whole life.
What do you study? Right, and what are you reading?
So we have a chat,
Right,
like,
we
we
have
have
But
to
it's
in
a
here.
more fiction.
I remember these.
What?
Really?
Yeah, my
had
friend
that
Bee's mom, Victoria Gross.
I don't know the name, but that's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, whoa.
Maybe it's the teacher in
Yeah.
Molly's story.
True, that's gross.
Right, yeah.
Gross.
Is Jeopardy Masters bigger than normal?
It's like for professional fish show people, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm
She's
sure.
a regular contestant on the chase.
Okay.
So
Wow. That's awesome.
you can be a professional fish show. I don't know. Okay, this is what my friend told me. Yeah. Maybe even better than the other.
A lot of people do like the reality TV show circuit, or just on there, it's a reality TV show.
It's kind of crazy. Imagine watching a reality TV show. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen
Yeah, but in order to make that happen, they have to make, you have to like prove yourself to the bad, like, all-stars shows, right? Like Love Island,
Yo.
Spin
Yeah,
Off,
but like,
Love
how
Island.
many times do you go family and finding love?
Yeah. All of those shows, if you like.
That's very happening.
Yeah.
Right, he was trying to explain.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
I would love to be on a quiz
But it's
show.
really fun, yeah.
That would be amazing.
Because I teach stuff that
I don't know, I think I would do well because I'm the kind of person who would study 20 hours a day for the day.
Okay.
What would you even study? You're like, okay, I need to know all the US presidents, but also, national history of Asia and.
No,
And like you're at a table and
You're at a
it's.
table.
Probably.
Well, I would study
Probably
the
not,
strategy.
guys.
Really?
I love it.
We'll see how
Yeah.
there is.
I've seen
I don't
some,
have.
what's the guy who's really good? at
And I think there must be something that like,
Thesis, a thesis. and-
like in Scrabble, for instance,
Yeah.
when you memorize the 99 two-letter words,
Pretty
like,
sure I'll take thesis.
Yeah.
all of a sudden you can beat everyone.
Oh, my mother-in-law does that, and I'm like, what
So
is?
there has to be something like
BZ?
that.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
You know.
You're in the English side.
Yeah,
It's like.
she made a whole printout that she carries with her, and her friends are allowed to use it, and then she tried to. I think Scrabble is a game to practice your life skills, where you're like, oh, of course you're right. You're like, oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. You're just trying to convince everyone that.
And you don't even know it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, but it has to be like endogenous. Like you can memorize it, but it has to come from. You can't touch it.
No.
If it's words,
Well, because part of the game is to be able to chat.
Right.
So playing well is actually part of the game. Now the people play online don't have that option really anymore, because the computer chats you, but the original Scrabble rules were.
I know.
I like love knowing big words and not having any idea what they mean. Molly goes, oh, I probably, what does that mean? So they're just.
We're going to go ahead and get started with the open mic. We have 2 readers tonight. And up first is Tyler Ayers.
Woo, Tyler.
All right. I just read in this building downstairs yesterday morning, and that was my first time ever reading my writing in public. So this is the second time. Which feels pretty cool. Yeah. Yes, right. I'm a veteran. Speaking of which, I am a veteran, and this is informed by that experience. Feels apropos. I won't run too long. This is about a guy who can't slow down. He gets kind of stuck in the rat race. And I just stepped off of the rat race. This is my first or second Sunday off in a long time. So I did that so I could come to events like this. I left a job that didn't fit right. So yes, that's the preamble. It's probably already a minute. I'll be fast. So this was published this month actually in Upagus, which is a local indie lit mag, and it's called High Speed. Sure, I heard of him. Ramirez. Put on Master Sergeant in 8 years, fastest I heard of. Made flight chief at his first duty station, he did. And remember that desert exercise last year? No, not Red Flag. That hush-hush joint op with the Brits, remember? Got a letter of commendation from SecDef himself after he spotted those Marines leaking hydraulic fluid. I mean, does he sleep? And what does he eat? With 4 kids and 2 divorces on top of it? Can you imagine? Haircut every other Thursday for 34 years, someone said. Only 2 times he missed one was 9/11 and then when Katrina hit. Someone counted 500 some skin fades. Number 4 on top, number 2 on the sides. You seen him at the field house? Runs laps around the new guys and 3 times their age, damn near. I'm serious. I mean, what does he eat? I bet Burke knows. Ask him for me at PT. I'm not kidding, dipshit. Ask him. Said he kept his uniforms tailored and pressed, which, believe it or not, is actually out of regs. Supposed to be wash and wear. Can't tell a guy like him to slow down, though. High speed, low drag, period, dot. Knew all his troops, wives, kids' birthdays. Still sends them cards, someone said. Haha, very funny. The kids, not the wives, asshole. But what's he doing now? If I had to guess? Well, today's a Wednesday, so he'll be out in his yard with the hand shears edging those Japanese maples of his. Nope, won't use a weed eater, not on them. Brought them little trees back himself on his last deployment. Anyway, Thursdays, he has his board meeting at the museum, except tomorrow it's Jones's ring ceremony at the Mason Lodge, which someone said he's officiating or whatever. Friday mornings, he'll be stocking shelves at Together on Leavenworth. Come Saturdays, he's out fishing on Manawa with the Eagle Scouts, or else with the Kiwanis ladies cleaning up some park. Then Sundays come. The new wife will be out with the girls. The maples will be edged, the board directed, the hungry fed, the fish all caught, trash picked up. Ramirez will be out back with a neat whiskey on his freshly treated deck. The bird feeders will be full, the tiki torches lit. The water features burbling. Against a red sky, he will manage maybe 2 minutes of stillness before finding something out of place. 2 hours later, and he'll still be down on hands and knees, whipping mulch and hosta into ever neater rank and file. 2 more hours, and his merino quarter zip will be sweated through, the sky now bruised a deep green purple. A car door will shut and shake the air. Her heels will pock, pock, pock up the drive and through the house. Into the full dark, she will say, "Honey? Hun? Come in for a drink? Please?" 5 minutes, dear, Ramirez will say. Just 5 more minutes. Thank you.
All right, up next we have Christina.
Hi, everybody. So I've been holding on to this little like micro fiction piece for a couple of months. I had a really wacky dream over the summer, and I wrote it down. It's about 1 page. So here we go. This is before I edited, though. I didn't have the recent version on my phone. So it's called Vermin Troubles. Many years ago, I dreamt of mammal fetuses sleeping soundly in puddles of water. Perhaps, almost certainly, a symbol of embryonic hope. Potentials just waiting to be. I was traveling along in a covered wagon and stopped by a riverbank, much like the one in Surratt's a Sunday afternoon on the island of the Grand Chat, and thought to myself, I don't want to go any further. I scooped a few of the mammals up from their amniotic homes, 3 to be exact, a mole, a rat, and a squirrel, and carried them to the river's edge. Here I released them all into the larger currents of life. One sunk, one swam, and one disappeared before I could see where it went or how. Don't ask me which one did what, because to me they all look the same. Little wet rodents. It should be noted that once I scooped them out of their pre-birth baths, they became full-grown in my arms. Of course, they were still sleeping soundly and, in my opinion, looked quite comfortable in my embrace. So you can imagine my dismay when I witnessed one of my little ones sink. I think it was the mole. Rats are resilient little fuckers. I have no doubt that one took to the water like an Olympic champ. Squirrels, however, are more mysterious, more fidgety, more spastic. Poor boy probably hit the water and didn't know whether to sink, swim, fight, flight, freeze, you name it. In honesty, I never cared for him anyway. Good riddance. My poor baby mole, though, he was my pride and joy. My dear little one. Mommy's little roly-poly moly boy. This was all many years ago, of course, though I still think of it often. The idea of their sadness breaks me every time.
All right, and last is my mom.
I wasn't gonna open mic, but like I probably should, right?
Yeah.
So, last time, the last one of these, I read a couple poems that were like related to this project I'm working on, which is like a chat book about Buenos Aires, where I studied abroad last semester. But we're gonna read a couple more of those. This one is called Hogar and then Home. Madrid, 2021. I have no metaphors, just a fact. For 4 weeks, I lived above an Argentine consulate in Madrid. I do not remember the neighborhood, just thinking that someday this could mean something more to me than others. I remember that one street entrance went up to that apartment where I lived, or maybe just stayed in, and the other to Argentina, or at least the soil. Buenos Aires, 2025. I read about ghosts now, or about being a ghost, about haunting. When I wrote about Magritte, my friend told me it's unique, that I found my niche, that I'm in love with Buenos Aires. I want to be, but something's left unsaid. In a nightmare, American bed, I'm searching for a train station in Madrid, always Madrid, but I don't know how to get home, and I don't know where home is, and I don't know how to say it, but I remember it sounds like a verb. And then I can do another one. This one is for class on Wednesday. So This is called Ghost of Pittsburgh, and it's after the movie Vertigo by Alfred Hitchcock. So, anyone big suspense movie fan? Ghosts like us don't have bodies. We have sheets that stick like Velcro and dreams that stick like glue. Where do we go when there's nothing left to say? To new cities, new rivers. In Pittsburgh's manufactured wilderness, we become someone else. Look, the bus is red, not blue. Watch, questions sound the same in either language. Slowly, someday, we will fall in love with another temporary home. We will find her in the Pennsylvania Rust Belt, and we will make her ours again, ours until we cannot leave. And maybe, someday, one day, she will come to love that which haunts her.
Right. Thank you, everyone who read. We are gonna go ahead and go to our last reader, David Blackmore. David Blackmore is a second-year MFA student who writes mainly creative nonfiction. He has published excerpts from his memoir manuscript, Chemical Works Road, in journals including Rockville Review, The Fourth River, Northern Appalachia Review, and Wayfarer Magazine. David is also a professor in the MFA program, where he teaches courses in pedagogy and Appalachian literature and mentors teaching fellows and graduate instructors. You can learn more about his work at www.david-blackmore.com.
Hey everybody. All right, I'm going to read a piece called Skills Test, and it started as a chapter in my memoir, and then I was like, I got to turn this into a memoir essay, and I got rejected 8 times from literary journals, so I just kept revising and sending it out again, and then finally got published in Wayfarer Magazine this summer, and I have since took out a page because I'm in Dr. McNar's classes. Content advisory, there are some homophobic slurs in here and a brief shower scene. Okay. Am I the only one who still views 7th grade as the nadir of his existence all these years later? My version of 7th grade hell is the garden variety experienced by small town boys whose peers don't think they live up to the local norms of appropriate masculine behavior. In my case, the small town is Kane, Pennsylvania, tucked in the northern woods of the Allegheny National Forest. And the torture of choice is the growler, a quick-fisted twist on my downy chin, accompanied by the snarled chant, Davy boy, faggot. But 7th grade isn't all bad. There are times when the pure hellishness of it is interrupted by brief moments of bright pleasure I know I shouldn't be enjoying. Take gym class, for example. Some of the most excruciating experiences in my sad sack junior high career take place amidst the smells of industrial disinfectant and adolescent sweat in the boys' gymnasium. But the gym is also where I start to noticing things. We are scheduled for phys ed on the very first day of 7th grade. Since 2 gym teachers had retired the previous spring, both the boys and girls phys ed classes have brand new teachers this year. The name of the girls' teacher is Mrs. California, which I find a bit misleading. Although she is blonde, she is not from California, nor does she in any way resemble a beauty queen. The new boys' teacher, Coach Fiore, on the other hand, might just win some beauty contests. 22 and fresh out of Slippery Rock State College, just like every other gym teacher in the state of Pennsylvania. He is a classic 70s dreamboat. Sculpted muscles covered in thick body hair, a square jaw below a jaunty mustache, a thick head of curly dark brown hair. He is the Marlboro Man, Mark Spitz, the cowboy in the Village People. And Coach is dead serious about physical education, as we learn on that first day. In elementary school, our weekly sessions with the gym teacher had been rather casual. We would report to the gym in our regular school clothes and then perform some minor calisthenics in time with a song called Go You Chicken Fat Go. Mrs. Jensen would play that for us on her beat-up old record player. Similar era in time, I'll take. A young redhead, Mrs. Jensen was nice, but she was decidedly unambitious when it came to both her own career and our physical well-being. So she used the chicken fat record with every single class, in every single grade, every single day. Coach Fiore has a much more ambitious agenda for us. And the first item on that agenda is making certain that we'll be properly equipped for serious athletic exertion. We are each issued a pair of blue cotton shorts imprinted with the Cane Wolves logo and a gummy white box on which our mothers are to write our names in block letters with a permanent marker. We are also issued a thick reversible t-shirt, blue on one side and red on the other. Aside from showing our pride in the school colors, these shirts will allow us to form teams without reverting to the old school shirts and skins trick. Coach explains these two items to us and then gets even more serious as he pulls out of a small box the item that my dad had always called a jockstrap, but which Coach Fiore now refers to as an athletic supporter. An athletic supporter, he tells us, is a crucial element in the practice of physical exercise, and its use will be mandatory in every single class. After this long exposition on a required uniform, Coach takes us downstairs to the locker room to explain his policies there. First, we will all be issued an identical black master brand combination lock. We can only use the locks he provides since Coach has a master key to these locks and needs to be able to inspect our lockers for possible contraband. Second, we will need to bring a towel from home because showering will be mandatory at the end of every class, whether we've sweated or not. The coach will keep a checklist on which he will note our shower compliance for each class. Coach's no-nonsense approach to dress and hygiene is further reflected in the rigorous curriculum, which he also explains to us on that first day. Each month, we will study a new sport, timed to coincide with the sports seasons of small-town Pennsylvania high schools. We will have flag football in September, basketball in January, and track and field in May. We will wrestle in February and do rope climbing to coincide with the National Presidential Awards in Physical Fitness. Coach will begin each unit with detailed instructions on the history and rules of each sport, which we will have to memorize since he will test us on them in a written exam. He was a very serious gym teacher. For example, I will forever remember that the first intercollegiate football game was played between Princeton and Rutgers, even though I had never heard of Rutgers before that first unit in 7th grade. These written tests are a godsend for me because I have no problem memorizing all the material and then regurgitating it on the test. And I need the A I get on the written test because I always do miserably on what Coach calls the skills tests. As their name suggests, skills tests evaluate the quality of our performance of various sporting activities. We might get a score based on how far we can throw a football, but also how proper our technique is, or how quickly, if at all, we can climb a rope to the 25-foot high gym ceiling, how many pull-ups we can do, or how quickly we can run the mile. I am chubby, weak, and tragically uncoordinated. Worse yet, I'm told again and again that I throw like a girl, no matter what type of ball I'm throwing. And I have absolutely no interest in sports. So the skills tests are invariably humiliating for me. Not only do I always get a low score, worse, my classmates snicker during my performance and then incorporate its inadequacies into their later rounds of daily harassment. Even more traumatic than the skills tests, although significantly more enjoyable, are the mandatory showers at the end of Coach's classes. Part of this trauma is shame about my lumpy body having to expose to the other guys my pointy boy titties. And that lumpy body simply refuses to sprout body hair of any type, even as my classmates develop tufts above their bigger than mine genitals and in the pits of their more muscular than mine arms. Of course, the excruciating pleasure of these gang showers is the chance to observe, furtively and full of shame, these developments on my adolescent classmates' bodies. With each stolen glance, I memorize a few inches of Tim Giordano's chest here and a few inches of Jack Herman's ass there. Then I take these images home and add them to those I had collected earlier until I am able to construct full portraits of my favorite naked classmates in the gallery of my mind. Gym class continues to torment me all through junior high. But in 8th grade, there is one moment of resistance, one time when I rescue myself from the lowest low of that 3-year nightmare. Coach Fiore means well in making Jack Herman my partner during our unit on wrestling. Although I genuinely detest the mud of flag football and the heart-scorching exertion of running an impossible required mile, wrestling is by far my most hated phys ed subject. On the one hand, it's just gross. Both the rubber mat we use and the more developed of my classmates bear the nasty smell of adolescent sweat. On the other hand, there is the unspeakable danger of being in such intimate physical contact with other boys' bodies. My subconscious fear of enjoying this contact is so great that I become even more incapacitated than usual when it comes to practicing for and executing the dreaded skills tests. You can't begin to throw another boy around on a mat when you will barely let yourself touch him, and he can throw you all over the place if you put up no resistance. It is because I am so bad at wrestling that Coach has made Jack my partner. This is thoughtful on his part if misdirected. Jack Herman is such a good wrestler that he has already made the high school varsity squad by the time he's in 8th grade. So Coach thinks it will be perfect for the kid with the strongest wrestling skills to mentor the kid in the class with the weakest skills. Very bad idea. Looking back, I can place Jack in a category that will always be especially dangerous for me. Short guys with right bodies and an intellectual inferiority complex. Jack is several inches shorter than I am, but everything important is right and full and exactly where it's supposed to be. I try not to look, but I can't help it. When Coach pairs me with Jack for wrestling, Jack pretends to be happy to help, but he immediately finds opportunities to use the situation to torment me in ways that will grow increasingly intimate. When Coach sets us up in the start position, Jack whispers in my ear, "I'm gonna fuck you up, you big faggot." He links his short arms, one over my shoulder and the other through my crotch, and then yanks so hard that my balls send pain shooting through my entire body. Although he is shorter than me, Jack is way more muscular, and he is mean. He throws me around like nobody's business, and since I never resist, I go flying and invariably hit the mat with a resounding thud. Jack particularly likes practicing a move called the pancake on me. As I know from the written test I had aced a week earlier, the pancake involves taking a standing opponent and slamming him to the mat in such a manner that the opponent lands flat on his back. It's kind of like an upside down belly flop dive, but when Jack does the pancake on me, it hurts much worse than a belly flop dive, since I am hitting a thin mat on a hardwood floor, which yields way less than a pool of water. As the dreaded wrestling skills test approaches, Jack isn't teaching me a thing, and he's throwing me around in more and more aggressive and painful ways, whispering faggot into my ear and more boldly each time. I feel desperate to get out of the situation, but can think of no respectable way to do it, until it comes time for the skills tests themselves. Coach asked Jack to take his test first so he can model correct form for the rest of the class. We take the test with our previously assigned partners, so Jack demonstrates the double leg takedown on me, and then the half Nelson, receiving, of course, perfect scores on each. But when I hear Coach say, "Now do the pancake," something inside me says, no. Jack wraps his arm around my shoulder and nearly kisses the word faggot into my ear. He lifts up my soft 100-pound body above his head and into a perfect horizontal position, so I will hit the floor perfectly flat. But the no in my head pulls my arm out of the perfect horizontal and down toward the floor at a 90-degree angle. My hand flattens out to break my fall, and my shoulder lets out a perfect crack before sending me tumbling to the side like a bad foul ball. My shoulder hurts like hell, but I couldn't be more relieved. Coach Fiore takes me off to the side and massages my shoulder a bit. He then tells me to sit out the rest of that day's skills test and replaces me with a tough guy Jack doesn't hate for the remainder of Jack's exam. Later, I am taken to the doctor, who assures me I have only sprained my shoulder and that it will heal quickly if I just keep my arm in a sling for a week or two. When Dr. Aquino strictly forbids me from any wrestling whatsoever during the rest of the wrestling unit, I nearly hug him. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay. Let's have one more round of applause for all three. Finally, I want to once again thank our faculty for everything they'll do for the program. Word Circus would not be possible without you guys. And thank you for that. The next Word Circus is tentatively scheduled for Sunday, November 16th, same time and place. So yeah, thank you all for being here and have a lovely night.